Hello, I'm Denise Galoni. Welcome to today's episode of Empowering You. My guest today is Cindy Rack. Cindy has been a real estate investor for over 15 years. She is also a 7-year breast cancer survivor using mostly alternative methods for recovery. Cindy speaks at cancer support groups, and her story is so inspiring. I'm excited that she's here with me today, and I hope she can help inspire you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. My guest today is Cindy Rack. Cindy is a real estate investor for 15 years and a realtor with Keller Williams for 12 years. Cindy views her business as a ministry, so she makes sure every client feels like they're her only client. Her tagline is, Cindy Rack has your back. She's a recipient of the 2021 Women of Influence Award with Pittsburgh Professional Women, the 2020 Cultural Icon Award at Keller Williams, and the 2020 Gold Award recipient for volume and working towards their Platinum Award for 2021. Not only that, Cindy is a 7-year breast cancer survivor using mostly alternative methods for recovery, and she speaks at cancer support groups and anyone who has a passion about their health she'll speak with. Welcome, Cindy.
Hi, how you doing, Denise? Thanks for having me tonight.
Oh, I'm well. Thank you so much for being here, Cindy. We have
Sure.
so much to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
So I mentioned that you work at Keller Williams. You've been a realtor for a long time. So how is the real estate business? Let's start with that. Is it a seller's market, a buyer's market? What's going on?
I think everybody in the world, and no one really knew about real estate until the last 2 years, where everybody just talks about all these bidding wars and being in the seller's market. And it is really insane. If you talk to any realtor, they'll tell you this is the craziest market we have ever seen in history. And there is very low inventory, and there's a number of reasons why that is. But it's really hard for first-time buyers, especially in that market. You know, my niece is looking for a home in around $150,000 range, and I went to schedule an appointment for a new house to come on the market, and she said, "I'm sorry." She said, "We have 59 showings this weekend." I said, 59 showings? Are you kidding me? So this is what the buyers are up against. And you know, there's going to be several offers from there. So us real estate agents have to get very creative in the way we put our offers together to get them in front of the sellers.
So if anyone wants to sell their house, they should call you.
Yes, definitely. I will be there to help them.
You'll be there to help them. So you must really enjoy real estate being at 15 years.
I do. My husband and I on the side, we flip 1 or 2 houses a year if we can. And I have some rental units, but most of my time, I would say, is spent as a realtor. I just love helping people find their new dream home and or moving on to their next phase of life. I have several clients that are first-time home buyers, and then I have several clients that are, they're looking to move down south, and this is their last move, and I help them get their house ready to be put on the market, and so that they could sell it and move on with their next chapter. So there's actually a couple videos that I did. One of them is about your health, and it's on Bethel Park Television.
Okay.
And it's called Know Your Body, Know Health, if anybody wants to look it up. And it gets into a lot more detail about my health journey. And then on my website, which is cindyrack.com, I have 2 videos, one under the buyers and one under the sellers that talk about first-time home buying and then how to prepare your home to sell faster.
Great. Everybody will have to check this out. So you're a pro at being on BPTV.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave and I go back.
So you mentioned your health journey.
Yes.
So you are a cancer survivor. Can you talk a little bit about your journey and what you found and how it really just changed your life? Because I think it's so, I've heard your story. It's so inspiring. And every time I hear it, I'm inspired.
Okay, thank you. It's a lot longer than what I can tell in the interview here. So I'm just going to be very short with it here. And if anybody wants to learn more, they can watch that other video, Know Your Body, Know Health. But it was actually New Year's Eve, December 2013. And I went in to get my mammogram, and it's a friend of mine who's the radiologist. And she said, "Cindy, I hate to say this, but you're gonna have to stick around a little bit more. We saw something." And then she says, "Well, just, it's good because it's, early on." And then the next thing you know, I'm getting whirled in and having surgery in January. And and then I had some radiation, but they wanted to put me on some pretty intense medicine, Arimidex, and also Zometa or Prolia for osteoporosis, because one drug causes the other, causes osteoporosis. They ended up to put you on another drug, and then that was going to cause weight gain and joint pain and all these other symptoms. And I'm thinking,
Oh my
this
gosh.
is not what I wanted. It really scared me. And so you have a month period of healing from the surgery and then 6 weeks of radiation before the medicine would start. So I had a good 10 weeks to start doing my own research. And what I found just totally blew me away. I mean, without getting into a whole lot of details,
Right.
I found that, my diet had a big issue in it. My genetics had an issue in it. All the toxins that are in the world that we put in our bodies. I think women, we probably have about 200 chemicals in our bodies before we walk out our bedroom. By the time we shower with the soap and the shampoo and the conditioner and the hairspray and the body lotions and the makeup that we put on, the perfume, you keep going and going, and it's just all made out of horrible chemicals that they're called hormone disruptors, and they cause disruption with our hormones, which is our breasts. And for men, it's prostate cancer. So it goes, both ways. The chemicals that the men are actually putting in their body too. And then I found out that there's hormone disruptors in the plastic bottles that we drink out of. So I drink out of stainless steel, and I found out that your water, needs to be better. And so I have filters on my water at home, for the filters. And I found out that those same chemicals that are in your products are in pesticides. And so I quit eating, started eating everything organic. Trader Joe's is great. Whole Foods has a few things. And, so I found out that gluten and dairy and sugar are very inflammatory, and cancer loves inflammation. And so I cut out anything that I felt that was inflammatory. So those were gone. And I also cut out soy, because soy is all estrogen. And when you have estrogen dominant breast cancer, you don't want to have any estrogen, and that's all genetically modified anyway. So I cut those out. I started eating organic. And at first I even went vegan for a couple months. And it was really interesting journey, because I was doing it for the health for the breast cancer. When you get that diagnosis, it freaks you out, and you're like, I'll do anything.
Sure. Right. You'll try anything.
Yeah, I'll do anything. And so what was interesting in that is, like, my joint pain went away, my hiatal hernia disappeared, all my acid reflux went away. I dropped 20 pounds. I was feeling like in a month, I literally was feeling 20 pounds lighter. I just could not believe I felt 20 years younger. It was just an amazing journey. And so I asked my husband to join me, because he was always tired and I had all this energy. And it turns out that his back pain went away. He had degenerative disc disease, and we figured it was the sugar in him, and all the inflammation was kind of going to his back. And he hasn't had back pain in 4 years since we've been doing this. It's just unbelievable.
And we hear all the time that sugar's bad.
Yes.
There's research sugar's bad, but we think, oh, okay, it's bad. But you really dug in that research and really found out a lot of things that we're doing that we shouldn't be doing.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? And it helps everybody. It's not just breast cancer. Since,
Sure.
My journey, the last 7 years, I watch webinars and podcasts and everything all the time on your health and how to improve things and tweak things to make it better and better. And I've talked to somebody just recently, and he's from Pittsburgh too. When he moved back to Pittsburgh, his 4-year-old son started taking 30 epileptic fits a day. They put a monitor on him. I'm sorry, 300 epileptic fits a day. When they put a monitor on him, and then he was stopped breathing. Literally, he stopped breathing 3 times a night. And so the doctors tried everything, couldn't figure out anything. And the father, out of desperation, similar to what I did, went on this journey of research, and he changed his son's diet and only gave him whole food to eat. So nothing out of a box, nothing out of a can, all the dyes that are in candies and cereals and all the junk food that we feed our kids. And his son literally has not had an epileptic seizure in 4 years. Okay. Because the dad went on a mission and changed his diet, it's just, I have a friend that I went to high school with. He had MS at 33 years old. He was using a walker. He was really starting to be crippled, and he hooked up with some guy called Dr. McDougall out of California, and it's a complete vegan diet, and no oils and all vegan. And he literally reversed his MS. I mean, even the markers on his MRI disappeared.
Gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So Cindy, what would you suggest if someone, and again, it doesn't have to be someone that found out that they had breast cancer, or someone just wants to change your life and eat healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you just all at once can't just shut everything off and just start.
Right.
But what would you do? Like, what would you say if I said to you, Cindy, I want to eat healthy, I want to get rid of all the toxins around me?
Mm-hmm.
What would I do first?
Well, what I did, not necessarily everybody would do this. You can swap out a little bit at a time, but I literally got a garbage can and threw away everything in my house. I threw away all my hairspray, my makeup, my body lotions, my cleaning products. And I went on Amazon and a couple other places, and I found these places that sell, chemical free
Mhm.
products. Physician's formula. You can buy it at Walgreens. It's
Right.
chemical free products. And my nail polish is Essie, ESSIE. I buy that at Walgreens too, and it has like a chemical free. If you look, you'd be shocked at how much is out there that is just readily at your fingertips. My hairspray is Giovanni. It's vegan. I buy it at Giant Eagle and on Amazon.
Right.
There's many different things that you can buy, okay, to help us. So I would get rid of the toxins. There's a science called epigenetics, and I didn't realize I was doing it at the time. But the concept is that if you clean up your diet,
Mhm.
you get rid of the toxins, you exercise, and then you get some genetic testing and you take the supplements that are based on your specific genetics, you can actually change the way your genes behave, literally. Okay, you can clean your genes. So the implications of epigenetics is if you do this when you're in childbearing age and your spouse does it in childbearing age and you
Right.
clean your genes, when you have children, you're going to be putting them in a much better position health-wise because you're going
Wow.
to be, it's a fascinating science, but that's what I ended up doing and not realizing until it was a science until I heard Dr. Maroon, who's the head neurosurgeon at UPMC, did a talk on it one day. And I thought, oh, I got all the genetic testing. I said, I'm going to go listen to him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I did. I got rid of the toxins, changed my diet, exercise, and I got genetic testing, and I'm taking supplements based on my specific genetics.
Right. Right. Right.
And
And we should say that you're not a doctor. So what works for you, it may not work for everybody else.
right. That's why, that's why I say know your body, know health. Everybody's body is totally different.
Right.
So
Right.
I got what was called an organic oats test. I got IgG food allergy testing. I got the genetic testing and the blood work. And you find a naturopath, because a regular doctor is not going to know what to do with that. And,
Mhm.
and a naturopath will guide you through, and they see things in your blood work that your regular doctor doesn't find.
Or
Okay.
they're looking for things, right?
They're looking for different things, right? And so, like I found out I had a gene mutation called MTHFR, and that meant that my body couldn't, like your body goes through a process called methylation, where it gets rid of toxins. And when you have this genetic mutation, which they estimate 30% of the people have, your methylation process is broken, and mine's only working at 30%. So 70% of the toxins were getting reabsorbed back into my body. Okay.
Wow.
So, the genetic testing, I found out that I have a CBS mutation. I said, what the heck is that? Right. And she
Yeah.
said, I bet you're eating all those cruciferous vegetables they tell you to eat when you have breast cancer, like broccoli and kale and Brussels sprouts and,
Right.
cauliflower and all that. And I
Both
said,
are,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm eating them. I'm putting them in my smoothies and my salads.
Sure.
And she says, well, they're full of sulfur. And this tells me that you're allergic to sulfur. Your body can't process it. And I said, you know what? I'm allergic to sulfa drugs. You're right. She said, it's because you have a genetic mutation and your kidneys can't process the sulfa. And she said, so you'll be eating all those, and 10 years down the road, your kidney will be like overloaded because it can't process it. And you're going to have kidney problems. And you're going to think, I don't understand. I'm eating all this good food. Why am I having kidney problems? Right. And it's because, so I think, to me, when I look back on this journey, I really think that, the genetic testing is so key. And a lot of people don't want to do that because it's really free to, like, corporations to use that information. They don't have your name tied to it, but they
Sure.
have the information. But, it's benefiting me to know what my body is, and the allergy testing. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago when we were where we met on the book retreat, my
Yes.
ankle was swelling up and I couldn't figure out why it was
I
swelling.
remember that.
Remember
For
that?
days you kept saying, what is wrong with my
What is going
ankle?
on my ankle? So what I found out was it wasn't going away. Okay. And nobody could figure out what it was. And I wasn't hurt. I didn't fall.
I remember when
So
it was.
I went and realized one day I was having my almond milk, sugar-free yogurt, right? I was putting a heaping teaspoon of cinnamon in it every day. Okay. And I realized one day I was praying about it and I'm like, Lord, help me out here. Right. And as soon as I put it in there, I went, oh my gosh, I got that food allergy testing done when I first had the breast cancer. And I think cinnamon was on it. And as long as I ate it in moderation, I'm fine. But I was literally putting a heaping teaspoon of straight cinnamon in there every day. So I
Right.
said, I'm just going to quit eating the cinnamon. And literally within 2 days, all the swelling went away.
And who would
Okay.
think that? Who would
Who
think
would think
cinnamon would
that?
do that?
Right. And then in the fall, I started drinking harvest tea, pumpkin spice tea, all these teas. My one lymph node started swelling up, and I thought, oh my gosh, and you had cancer, a lymph node swells. That's
That's,
you're
yeah,
panic stricken, right?
sure,
Well, I
absolutely.
thought to myself, after about 5 days of drinking that 3 or 4 times a day, because I love those teas, I went to put the tea bag in the one day, and I went, oh my gosh, I think these all have cinnamon in them, and
Absolutely,
they
yeah.
did. And I quit drinking them, and the lymph nodes went down. Now, that would have been very costly to go to the doctors to get a biopsy, invasive, cost money. They wouldn't have found anything,
Oh, and just
right?
mental anguish of thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. So my feeling is if you know your body, you can start to manage yourself, right? So blood work, going to a naturopath, getting blood work, getting the genetic testing, getting the allergy testing. Organic oats tells you whether you have overgrowth of yeast or leaky gut, which a lot of people have because we're eating so many bad foods. It puts little tiny holes in our intestines, and then that
Right.
flakes off into our body. And that's why everybody's so crazy. Hormone testing, our hormone. So you can get some other kind of testing. Not that regular doctors are bad, they just don't do this extra work.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
And then as far as changing your diet, get rid of inflammation things, gluten, dairy, sugar. You try one just for 30 days. Just say, I'm going to try for 30 days not to eat sugar. And it's in everything. You have to read every label. And sugar is probably as addictive as heroin, is what they say, and
Mhm.
cocaine. And
Right.
so you go through literally a withdrawal. But and there are alternatives. There's something called allulose. They have liquid stevia that's not
Mhm.
an aftertaste. I carry it in my purse, wherever I am. If I want to get a mojito, let's say, instead of them putting the simple syrup in, I'll say, just give me a mojito without the simple syrup. And then I put a couple drops of stevia in it and it's fine. Right. So there's all kind of alternatives you can use to make your health better.
So then I should, if anyone's watching and wants to get healthy, watch your diet first. And you said cut out again sugar, dairy, gluten. And you said something
Yeah,
else.
yeah. Soy,
Soy,
soy is not very good for you.
sugar,
And
dairy,
so,
gluten, soy. Cut those
yeah,
out first.
yeah, cut those out and start eating organic. Okay.
Mhm.
Or there's a Trader Joe's has organic chicken, organic ground chicken. They have organic ground turkey. They
Right.
have organic beef steaks, ground meat, wild caught fish. You want to eat only wild caught fish. You can eat, the beef is grass fed, you
Mhm.
want to eat grass fed beef. And
Right.
so, some of those are a little bit more, but you're cutting out all that other junk that you're not eating.
Right.
Nuts are a great thing to have for snacks. Make your own trail mix, have a whole bunch of different
Yes.
kind of nuts and throw them all in there with a little bit of craisins or, sliced coconut or something to give it some little bit of sweetness, and you're on your way.
Yeah. And then environmentally too, you said a lot of the products that we use, shampoos, conditioners, body sprays, body
Mhm,
washes, nail
mhm.
polish, makeup, everything.
Everything. Yeah.
So we should look for chemical free.
Look for chemical free. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
And as
somebody
you,
might say all natural, but that means nothing.
right.
Okay. And there's a great website, a resource called Environmental Working Group. It's called ewg.org. And you can also look up, it's called Skin Deep. It's a subset of that website. And
Okay.
you can just Google Skin Deep website, and you can actually go in and type in the name of a product. Or if they don't have it in there, you can just write the ingredients. Like I'll go to a company's website. If there's something that I see that I like, I'll go to their website and I'll get all the ingredients of the product. Then I'll copy and paste each ingredient one at a time. It takes time, but
Sure.
there's product, and then they'll tell you if this ingredient is a 1, 2, or 3, it's okay for you. If it's a 4, 5, or 6, it's if it's a 7, 8, 9, 10, it's red. Forget it. You don't want to use it, right? So if you have products that have those kind of things in them, you have to get rid of them. If you want to, here I am at this point, I'm 63. I've been cancer free for 7 years. About 4 years into it, I had to go to the or oncologist for something. And he said, Cindy, we talk about you all the time. And I said, you do? Why is that? And he says, well, I'm going to see 40 cancer patients today, and you're the only one that chose not to take our medicine. I said, really? He said, yeah. And he said, you know what? You're the only one. You're cancer free. You look great. Your blood work looks great. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Right. So, but he wouldn't ask me what I was doing
Right.
because
Right.
they can't make money on that, not
Right.
to knock them, but it's true.
Like
I
you said,
mean,
the knowledge is out there because you
yes,
didn't know any of this before your
right.
diagnosis.
Nothing. And
Nothing.
the other thing too, I always thought I ate healthy until this happened. And then I realized what I was eating was not healthy. But I'm not saying that people shouldn't take their chemo or shouldn't take the medicines the doctors
Right.
are
Right. We're
telling
not
them.
saying that. Right.
Okay. I'm not saying that.
Right.
because everybody's different and everybody has to handle their own diagnosis in their own way. And if it's listening to everything the doctor says, then you listen to the doctor. Okay.
Right.
But you can still do these things as a supplement. Okay.
Mhm.
Because what I found is that and talking to other people that have done this, even though they've taken the other medicine, it helps you get through the chemo easier. It helps you get through the radiation easier, right? So when your body's in a healthier position, it's you don't get as sick when you do these things, right? And even
Right.
like I've had people talk about getting intravenous vitamin C when they have cancer because it infuses oxygen into the cells and the cancer can't live in the oxygen. Okay, so it actually kills the oxygen right down to the cellular level. And I didn't have to do that part because I was, what I did was fine.
Mhm.
But I had to take IV vitamin C back in September because I was getting rid of, I'm sorry, in December, I was getting rid of some some teeth that were bad. Okay, that had mercury filling in them, right? So I
Mhm.
was getting this mercury
Sure.
filling in there, and that's really not good for you. And
Mhm.
so he was a naturopathic dentist, and he put an IV vitamin C in my arm. Okay, well, for 3 hours while he was working on my teeth, getting rid of all these mercury fillings, as well as doing other things. What I found was very fascinating to me is because my my nutritionist keeps telling me, Cindy, you still 7 years later have this low level infection in your body. Your white blood count is still under 4, and we still can't figure out what it was. So I did find out that I had a bad root canal. We pulled the tooth, found a cyst this big. So I do not like root canals,
Mhm.
but I still had the infection. Well, guess what? I found out after I did that, I ended up in hospital with COVID. Okay, back in February.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they had to do blood work every day. So I looking at my blood work, and all of a sudden my white blood count is up to over 6. And it has not been that way in 7 years. And I'm convinced that that IV vitamin C finally killed whatever infection I had in my
Wow.
body. Okay. I mean, I'm totally convinced of that because it was literally right after I had that done that I had the blood work done from the COVID.
So you are so inspirational. I mean, your story and just how you said that you didn't know anything before your diagnosis. You learned all this, and it's out there for people.
It's out
And
there and it's
and I love how
free.
you give examples because it's not that everything's just so expensive. Because you said you go to Walgreens and get it, or you go to
Yeah.
John Eagle and get things. So if
Right.
people just need to be cautious of what they're doing.
Right.
Any final thoughts for the audience?
Well, I would just say that it's really important not to just take a pill for something. I mean, that's what people want to go to the doctors and they want the easy way out.
Easy,
Okay.
like weight
And
loss. Same
and
thing. Give
our
me a pill.
diet, yeah. I mean, our Western diet is horrible, and we just got in a habit of thinking it's okay, and it's actually not. And if here's one interesting thing I found out that to kind of end this is that oils are good for you. People think oils are fattening, and back in the 70s, they said you can't have oil because fats are bad for your heart, right? Everything's
Right,
low fat,
right.
low fat, low fat. Well, your brain is made out of 70% fat. So if you're getting rid of the fat, to think about it, back in the 70s is when Alzheimer's started to get really big and pop because
Right.
people were kind of at the fat because of their heart and they weren't feeding it into their brain. And so we have more Alzheimer's, right? So all of this plays in with each other. So
Yeah.
oils are good for you, okay? But good oils, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. Those are the only 3 oils I have in my house. Everything else gets and eating avocados, anything that's good, healthy fat is good for your brain, right? So my final thought is to just do your own research,
Right. Take the
watch
time.
that video that talks a little bit more, get these additional tests, start working with a naturopath and take control of your health. I love that commercial they used to have at Highmark, put a hand in your health,
Yeah.
and they used to
Yeah.
have that
Right.
blue
Right.
hand,
Right.
right? And I used to
Right.
think, oh, but now I understand what they're saying. You have to take
Yeah.
control. You can't just leave your life and your health up to your doctors. You have to take control of it, and you have to be in it, and you have to know it, and you have to know your body, and that's the only way you're going to know your health.
Cindy, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey and all your information and your resources. Thank you so much. Wonderful.
You're welcome. Denise, it was great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching today's episode of Empowering You. I'd like to thank my guest, Cindy Rack. Cindy gave so much information, and she is so inspired with her story of how she used alternative methods to battle her breast cancer. I hope Cindy inspired and empowered you to live your best. Thank you for watching and see you next time.